Good morning, students. Today we are going to study our next life process, that is respiration. Respiration is the process in which food is oxidized to get energy. जो food आपने खाया है, the food get absorbed into your bloodstream. वो food आपको it cannot provide you energy until that is not oxidized. Means addition of oxygen. जब ऑक्सीजन जो हम inhale करते हैं, whenever we breathe in और breathe out CO2 and we breathe in ऑक्सीजन, तो ये ऑक्सीजन हमारे फूड में मिक्स हो जाती है, ऐड हो जाती है, and this process of addition of oxygen is known as oxidation, and the food is oxidized, then it provides us energy. Now this respiration is of two types. One is aerobic respiration and the second one is anaerobic respiration. Aerobic word आपने सुना होगा. In we undergo many aerobic exercises. Aerobic exercises क्या होती हैं? जिनमें बहुत सारी ऑक्सीजन चाहिए होती है. Then this is also a type of aerobic. Aerobic respiration means the respiration which takes place in the excess of oxygen. जब बहुत सारी ऑक्सीजन हो, जैसे कि ह्यूमन बींग्स के हमारे पास है, we undergo aerobic respiration. And the second one is anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration क्या होता है? इसका opposite means वहाँ पे excess of oxygen थी. Here we are having lack of oxygen, or the oxygen is totally absent. So the respiration in the absence or lack of oxygen is known as anaerobic respiration. Now we will see the equation of aerobic respiration. Now in our body, the food is present in the form of glucose that has been absorbed into our bloodstream, and that glucose in our cytoplasm get converted into pyruvate. Uh, uh, Glucose is a carbon compound having 6 carbon atoms, whereas pyruvate has 3 carbon atoms. Now in cytoplasm, this process takes place, and this process is known as glycolysis, conversion of glucose into pyruvate. Now in our mitochondria, आपने क्लास 9th में पढ़ा होगा, mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell which generate ATP for our body. So same here what happens, ये pyruvate gets excess of oxygen in our mitochondria and gets converted into carbon dioxide, water, and 38 ATP energy, 38 molecules of ATP. ATP क्या होता है? एडिनोसिन ट्राइफॉस्फेट. इट इज़ आर एनर्जी करेंसी, जिसकी फॉर्म में हमारी बॉडी में एनर्जी स्टोर रहती है फॉर डूइंग अ डिफरेंट एक्टिविटीज़. Now single molecule of glucose gives us 38 ATP of energy. Now if we talk about the anaerobic respiration, it is divided into two equations. One is in the lack of oxygen. Lack of oxygen कहाँ होती है? In human muscles, हमारे muscles में. Whenever we undergo very heavy exercise, then what happens, हमारे जो muscles हैं वहाँ तक जो अमाउंट ऑफ ऑक्सीजन है दैट इज़ नॉट सफिशेंट. तो क्या होता है, ये जो ग्लूकोज पायरुवेट और पायरुवेट से हमारा 38 ATP ऑफ एनर्जी बन रहा है, वो नहीं बनेगा. वहाँ पे क्या होता है, इंस्टीड लैक्टिक एसिड इज फॉर्म्ड देयर and only 2 ATP of energy is produced in this process. 2 ATP, वहाँ 38 ATP था और यहाँ पर सिर्फ 2 ATP एनर्जी रिलीज होता है. और लैक्टिक एसिड क्या है? लैक्टिक एसिड इज़ अ काइंड ऑफ वीक एसिड. whenever it gets accumulated in our muscles, तो we feel muscle cramps, पेन होने लगता है हमें, मस्कुलर पेन होता है. that is due to the accumulation of lactic acid. अब क्या है, next is in the absence of oxygen. Absence of oxygen takes place in yeast. Yeast क्या है? It's a fungus. In yeast what happens, the glucose gets converted into pyruvate in its cytoplasm, and when it is and when it doesn't get the oxygen, so in the absence of oxygen it forms ethanol, which is an alcohol, CO2, and 2 ATP of energy. In this way, the anaerobic respiration in yeast takes place in the absence of oxygen. Now we'll see respiration in plants. In plants, we are having stomata in leaves, lenticles in stems, and root hair in roots. So plants respire with the help of these structures. In leaves, they respire through stomata. In a stem, they respire through lenticles, and in roots, they respire through root hair. Now, if we talk about the stomata, these are the tiny pores present on the lower surface of the leaves, which helps in exchange of gases. Plants में क्या होता है? CO2 जो है is taken in, as you see in the process of photosynthesis, they take in carbon dioxide, and in return they give us oxygen, which purifies our air. Now if we see the structure of a stomata is like a kidney bean shaped structure, and these kidney bean shaped cells are known as guard cells, and there is a pore which is known as stomatal pore in the center. They're also having chloroplast where chlorophyll is present, and this type of stomata is an open stomata, and when they need CO2, when plants need CO2, then this stomata gets open and CO2 is taken in, and after that the stomata gets closed after giving out the oxygen. Now respiration in animals. Different animals have different structures for respiration. For example, fish, they have the gills for respiration. Earthworm, they have moist skin, they respire through the moist skin. Frogs can respire through gills whenever they are underwater, and when they come out after the full growth, they respire through their moist skin, and when the skin gets dry, then they respire through the lungs, fully matured when they are. Now if we talk about the respiration in human beings, that is an organized and advanced organism, so it has an organ system for respiratory purpose, which is known as human respiratory system. और इस human respiratory system क्या होता है? ये it's a group of organs which help in respiration. उन organs का group होता है ये जो respiration में human beings को help करते हैं. तो हमारी body में क्या क्या structures, क्या क्या organs है जो हमें help कर रहे हैं respiration में? Nose, nasal passage, then trachea, bronchus, bronchioles, alveoli, lungs, and diaphragm. These are the organs which helps us in respiration. So it's also known as a human respiratory system. Now we will see the structure of human respiratory system. Now here we have human respiratory system, the structure of human respiratory system. Now, as I have told you that there are many organs which help in respiration in human beings. So they make the human respiratory system. First, nose, we are having nasal passage, trachea, bronchus. There are two bronchi known as bronchi in plural and bronchus in singular. उसके बाद उसकी there are many branches of bronchus, and these branches are known as bronchioles. Then these bronchioles give rise to the alveoli, and then we are having balloon-like structure called lungs. Then we are having the diaphragm. Now we will see the function of these respiratory organs. First we are having nose. The nose, it helps in inhalation, exhalation, and filtration of air. Then the second is nasal passage. It carries air from nose to the trachea. Then we are having trachea, which is also known as windpipe, and it is surrounded by cartilaginous ring, which prevents the collapse of windpipe or trachea when there is no air or in the absence of air. Then the function of trachea is that it is the main passage through which air passes from upper respiratory tract to the lungs. Then we are having bronchus or bronchi. The function of bronchus is to ensure the passage of air from trachea to the bronchioles. And bronchioles, which are the branches of bronchus, they allow the air enter into the alveoli, and alveoli which is the main site of respiration. respiration जो होती है, exchange of gases जो होती है, वो alveoli में होती है. alveoli is the main site of gases exchange, and it is richly supplied with blood, and it takes oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide. And these alveoli are very large in number, so they increase surface area for better rate of respiration. Then we are having lungs. These lungs bring air from atmosphere and pass oxygen into the bloodstream. Then we are having diaphragm, which is the muscular organ here. This diaphragm moves upward and downward during inhalation and exhalation. The function of diaphragm is it changes the volume of lungs during inhalation and exhalation. When diaphragm moves up, exhalation process takes place, and when diaphragm moves down, the inhalation process takes place. And in this way the human respiratory system works. So in our next video we'll talk about the transportation. Good day.